Hello, fifth grade. So today we're going to start our Dine Heart pop art project. It's a really long title for this project. And we were able to get this done completely in 5B today. So it was kind of chaotic and messy and we were flinging paint, but we had so much fun and this looks so cool when we're done. So I'm really excited to show you guys this. Dine is a pop artist, a United States or American pop artist. He created a piece in 1991 that is my inspiration for this. And I saw this piece and then I found a teacher who already did a lesson. So there's a PDF kind of slideshow attached to this lesson that kind of goes through what we talked about in art today. Who is Jim Dine? What's pop art? Some examples of his work. And then it kind of goes step by step how to do this project. And don't listen to the step by step there. I'm doing it a little different than my coworker who I used to work with. The picture we're looking for inspiration is called A Little Heart in a Landscape. And it's like this black and white messy landscape and this heart that has form. So we're using this project to kind of really work on contrast and emphasis and form, using those elements of art in one piece really quick to make some really cool artwork. Are you ready? All right, so what you need is a piece of white paper. We use 9x12 in class because that's what we have, and it's thicker. You want something thicker than printer paper if you're going to use watered down paint. You also need a piece of red construction paper. Ours was 6x9, but again, you can do whatever fits kind of in yours. We want a nice big heart. You'll need a pencil and you'll need a Sharpie. You might not even need a pencil. We'll see. So the other thing you might need is we splattered India ink today in class. And I know you don't have India ink at home, hopefully. It's really messy and my hands are still pretty gross. I took the black watercolor out of your watercolor set at the beginning of the year because we don't ever use black watercolor. And I wish you had it. So at home, if you have black paint, you can really water down to make it really watery. You can do the splatter technique just fine. If you choose to opt out of that, that's okay too. If you don't have black paint at home or you can't think of something watery and black to sprinkle on your paper, just skip it. It will still look pretty cool without that splatter, and it'll be less messy too. All right, so how we're gonna start is you decide if you wanna have your orientation of your paper going horizontal or if you want it vertical. It is artist's choice and it doesn't matter. So Jim Dine's inspiration picture is in a landscape, and a landscape is a picture of outside. And so outside is trees, and we want to keep this black and white to have a really high contrast with that red. So the best trees I could think of are birch trees, and birch trees are just straight trees that have that white bark that kind of peels, and they're super easy to draw. So a birch tree, you can make it as simple as drawing however thick you want the tree trunk to be. And if you want to add some branches, you can. I decided last class I'm not going to waste my time on branches, and I'm just doing the tree trunks. So then after you do that, to make it a birch tree kind of thing, you add some horizontal lines kind of going off the sides just to give it some texture. I had the kids in class just go with their Sharpie. Some friends just couldn't do it. They wanted to draw it in pencil first and then outline it. You do whatever you are most comfortable with. So if you want to draw in pencil and then outline it first, you can. Otherwise, you can just freehand it. Just kind of mix up your lengths of your bark, the horizontal lines for the bark, so it doesn't look too much like a ruler. And don't use a ruler for this. And some wobbles are great. So then you decide how many trees are in your forest and how thick or thin they are and how wobbly they are and if they have branches or not. So just go ahead and add those. And you're going to fill your whole paper with that. If you go opposite way too, the main thing is you want to go all the way from top to bottom. I might have said that at least 7 times today in class. I'm going really fast. You should take a little bit more care with this step. So again, you're just going to keep filling your trees and you don't need to watch me do that. I'm just going to draw a couple more. Maybe I'll draw super skinny ones over here. The more black and white pattern you can have in the background, the better. So and then I would add the little tick marks and I'd add more over here as well. So step 1 is complete your birch trees and add all those lines. Then if you have splatter paint or liquid water paint or watery black paint, You can dip a paintbrush in that liquid black paint and then tap with another brush to splatter all over and kind of mess it up. If you don't have watery black paint to use, again, like I said, we can skip this step. So you'll draw your trees, you'll add your bark. If you have watery black paint, you're gonna kind of, we put it in a big box today in class. So you put this in a box like an Amazon box or take it outside and splatter it this way because it will go everywhere. And watch your clothes. So once it's splattered, you can put this off to the side to dry. Or if you're choosing not to do the splatter paint, that's fine. So you have your piece of red construction paper and you want to fold it in half. So we're going to make our heart like we're back in like kindergarten making our Valentine. So your open end is one end and your folded end is over here. So this is where your pencil comes in handy. You can start on the folded edge because this is going to be the center of your heart. And you're going to draw half of a heart. And you want it to draw pretty big. You want to draw a pretty big heart. Okay? And once you've drawn your half, you're going to take your scissors, holding both sides together, cut it out. And I say that not because I know you might not know that, but we had a couple friends today in 5B try to cut it out after they opened it, and that doesn't really work that way. So you cut out your heart, and voila, it's a heart. All right? The main thing we want to make sure is your heart fits somewhere on your paper. So after you get this step done, I need to go grab my oil pastels. You're going to want oil pastels, which I also forgot to say in the beginning, but I'll have it on our list. You'll want your black oil pastel and a white oil pastel. And you're going to take a black oil pastel and you're going to color all around the edge of your heart. So I'm going to use my scrap paper here to protect my table. So I'm just going to color a really thick border going all the way around my heart. All right, so it's like that. I'm going to go all the way around. And I'm just using that scrap paper to keep my table clean, which is always a good tip to keep your table as clean as possible. We made enough of a mess with the Indie ink today in class. And then you want, when you're using the oil pastels, it to feel kind of creamy. So you want it to be that you're pushing hard enough that you get that creamy, smooth glide. And you decide how thick or thin you want your border. Some friends had a really thick border, and some friends just had a little bit. We need enough that when we smudge to get our form, it comes off. Okay. So I'm done with my heart. I have one area that's thicker than the other, and that bothers me. So I'm just going to make mine a little bit more symmetrical. Okay, good. Maybe thicken that border down here. Okay. And then I'm going to get a white oil pastel. And we're going to add some highlights. So it doesn't matter which side you do this on. I just always tend to go to my left. I'm going to follow the curve of my heart and make a little like apostrophe highlight. And then down here, I'm going to make a little curve here too. And that just kind of makes it cuter and softens the whole harshness that we're about to do. So then you're going to take your paper, which is complete hopefully, and you're going to take your heart and you are going to glue stick, works fine, or liquid glue all over your heart, and you're going to stick it in the middle of your painting. And we didn't wait for our splatter paint to dry because we didn't have time in class, but if you have time to let it dry, it goes much easier. So you're going to attach it to your completed background, whether it's all drawn out or it's completed with the splatter, and you're going to glue this down. And once this is glued down, you're going to take your finger and you're going to kind of start rubbing the oil pastel, and you're going to soften that line. And I'm going to go into the paper, into the red, and onto my white. And I'm just kind of going in a circle motion. You're going to warm up that oil, and we're softening it to help it kind of give that illusion of form. So I can really go in there and bring that smearing down, and I can get pretty creative. So at the back, you won't see that because it's glued down. All right, it's time for lunch. And you just keep smearing until you like it. Some friends liked a lot of smear on the outside, and someone just a little bit. So you're going to do the whole heart. Then you're going to take a clean finger if you can find one, and you're going to kind of smear and soften your highlight, just to soften it. If a little black gets in there, that's okay. So we're just wanting to soften our lines. And when we're done, it's this really cool effect. Let me go grab my example. I should edit that out, but I won't. So when we're done, it looks like something like this. Really, really cool. When you smooth out those edges, it just really makes it really cool. I'm so excited about this project. So again, if you have something watery you can splatter, do that. If you don't, it still would probably look really cool just by itself once you fill out the background. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye, guys.